Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up the USA view. Does the American flag represent gay Americans? A surprising answer from Alexis Bittar new documentary. New film directed by Alexis Bittar and produced along with Oscar winner Bruce Cohen is examining how the flag can be reclaimed as a symbol of unity for all Americans, with a focus on the LGBTQ community. Reclaim the Flag is a 30-minute short documentary available on YouTube that features interviews with bold-faced names from Hollywood, politics, media, and fashion, including Lena Waithe, Gus Kenworthy, Jason Capehart, Marc Jacobs, Bill T. Jones, Jim Parsons, George Takei, Gottmik, Gigi Goode, Cheyenne Jackson, Brandon Flynn, Harper Steele, Isaac Mizrahi, John Cameron, Mitchell Paul Tazewell, Raquel Willis, Josh Wood, Jenna Lyons, and Justin Tranter. In the trailer, Lena Waithe makes the statement, quote, "Depending on how the United States feels about you will depend on how you feel about the flag," end quote. When discussing why he created the movie, Bittar said, quote, "Over the past decade, the American flag has increasingly become a symbol of division. I want to make a documentary about reclaiming it for all Americans by bringing together 50 leaders from the LGBTQ community to share their reflections and hopes, speaking with a historically marginalized group, offered a powerful lens for sharing a blueprint toward actionable steps to reclaim the flag."
Just think the only way for us to get back to a place where this can represent something warm and free and safe. I think safety is the biggest thing. There's going to have to be a lot more fight in us than there is right now.
How can we reclaim this? By, in the Gay Pride Parade, having this right alongside the Gay Pride flag. Having more of us, people are outspoken artists within the community, owning being an American, owning the American flag, putting it up. Like right now, I don't know if I would put an American flag up. That's messed up.
Well, a lot to talk about. I'm sure there's a lot of different thoughts at this table and in our community. I know one of the things that I was raised is to always have an American flag, even after I identified myself as a gay man. And I've had people sometimes say, "Hey, why do you have an American flag in front of your home?" And I think, I feel kind of bad. The last few years, I have not been flying one. And I think it's a very important message that we claim the American flag. It's ours. We're Americans. The right wing doesn't own it. What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
And so being a military person, the American flag has a completely different holistic meaning to who we are, who I am, and what it represents for me. And for me, as an LGBT, Catholic, Hispanic, minority, I feel as though the American flag does represent me because of the values that I grew up with. Now, the people in the office that are supposed to represent that flag or lead, with the flag as dependent, I may not fully trust or believe in them, but the flag I do believe does represent me. And I think Gigi said it very good. Like, we have to fight. It's a warm, free, and safe sign, which is similar to serving in the military, because when we look at that flag, it's safety, it's warm, the compassion of those folks back at home, and it's free. Like, literally, we do what we do overseas to make sure that you can do whatever you want globally. So the flag for me as a military member does have a different significance, but like Cheyenne said at the end, we have to show it. Each of us at this table are in a position of leadership, and we have a platform. And he talked about using that platform for good. So I think it's incumbent upon us leaders also that when we are going and saying, "Oh, we're going to have this mixture, we're going to have this event, where's the LGBT flag?" I think we all need to be cognizant and say, "Where's that American flag?"
I'm just a little taken back by this, because I've never once needed to reclaim the flag. It's always been a part of me and my my existence. I come from a military background. I come from an immigrant background. I come from a farming background. So I've never once missed it, but I've never felt the need, like the Republican Party does today, to use it as a tool to divide. I've always thought, just because I don't wear a flag on every inch of my body and flags pop out of my mouth the minute I start speaking, doesn't mean I'm not an American. I'll die for that flag or anybody's freedoms. You know, it's just never, this story caught me off guard, but it does make sense considering the last 10 years of politics with this divide that has been so important for the Republican to divide and conquer rather than to, you know, allow us all to celebrate and enjoy. But I do think that, you know, the point was made that, you know, anytime you see an LGBTQ flag, there should be an American flag up because we damn right deserve that flag. So it's an interesting perspective that I now have to think about that I didn't before.
Well, I have to say that watching this documentary, and I recommend that everybody see it, during the same time that I am now reading this book, which is American Scare, Florida's Hidden Cold War on Black and Queer Lives by Robert Fiesler. While living here in South Florida, I mean, this is the history that came before us that sort of set up what's happening right now. And all this happening under both DeSantis and Trump. It's really stirred up a lot of emotions. So I recommend this book. I recommend you watching the documentary. And I have to say, it was also interesting to see Jonathan Capehart in the documentary because he made news today by being one of the numerous award-winning journalists joining the exodus from Bezos' Washington Post. So good on you, Jonathan Capehart.
You know, I look at it and I go, and most of it at the table are around the same generation, you know, and I was always brought up to respect the flag, respect leadership, whether or not you agree with them or not, but respect the authority of the office, right? And I have a lot of family that's in the military, so it's kind of like you, I kind of grew up understanding and respecting that. Like you said, I've never thought of the flag like I have to reclaim it, but there's got to be a way that we can bring them together. But
it's also important, and you know, it's my perspective on politics today is that I have every right to be at the table as anybody else.
Right.
And I'm going to be listening to everybody else's comments. It doesn't mean I don't catcall you.
Right.
It doesn't mean I don't call you an asshole. But at the same point, I'm involved and I'm there at the table. What I'm not seeing, and maybe it's just because of my selective world, you know, because we all have, our world only goes so big. You know, I'm not seeing enough of the younger people coming to the table. I'm not seeing enough people from the LGBTQ community that aren't coming here with a specific, this is me.
Right.
I want to talk about where on that table is the spot that we all win, or the most of us win.
Right.
That is the most fair. I don't want to talk about this right here.
Right.
I want to talk about the collective conversation.
Good point.
And that's what I'm missing in this whole conversation is I'm not seeing the collective unison. I'm just seeing a bunch of people screaming, I want, I deserve. We all deserve. Now, where are we all winning? And I think that's where the conversation has to come back to the table for politics.
Right. Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.